Hello ladies, in this video we're going to go through a bit of theory for 5E and a few examples, but before we do, just got to let you know this is the 100th video that I've done for all my classes, not just you guys, but I just had a look and I had done 99 recordings, so this makes this on 100, so many hours of videos, and I hope they're helpful. But girls, do remember you don't have to just rely on these videos, so if you need help, you can always ask for help during class time as well. Okay, so the theory you need for 5E, so we're looking at multiplying and dividing expressions. When we're looking at multiplying, so we'll look at multiplying first. If we've got two pronumerals, so here you can see you've got your A and your B, we don't really use a multiply sign, so it's kind of like an implied multiply. So it's A, B, but it's kind of like there's an imaginary times in there, so we just say that's A times B. And for division, we usually don't use the division sign. We use what's called a vinculum, which is this line, like a fraction, okay, because a fraction is the same as dividing. When we're multiplying the same base or the same pronumeral, so you can see here with point number 3, we've got A times A. That's the same as A squared. It's just the same as if you had 2 times 2, that would be 2 squared. Okay, so just remembering those 3 things, and these key ideas should be going into your bound reference anyway. You can then write the rest if you like, but just going through them because you'll pick up these things pretty quickly. So basically the order doesn't matter. So this is what the 4th point means. So 2 times 7 is the same as 7 times 2. So when we multiply, it doesn't matter whether we write 3A or A3. But we tend to write the number before the pronumeral. So very rarely you would see A3. We'd write that as 3A. Okay, so when you're multiplying, so if you multiplied even A times 3, we usually write the answer as 3A, not A3. What's the next one? So, okay, so the next one we're just looking at when we're multiplying, the brackets don't really matter. Okay, so you can see here we've got 3 times and then 5 times 2 in the brackets. And then here we've got exactly the same thing, 3 times 5 times 2. The brackets don't make any difference. So it's the same when we're working with algebra. If we had 3 times and A times B in your brackets, and we had 3 times A and B outside the brackets, both are 3AB. Okay, so it doesn't matter. What point are we up to? What is that? 1, 2, 3, the 6th point. Numbers should be written first. Okay, so that's what I was saying before. So and then we write our letters in alphabetical order. Now, technically, it's not wrong if you wrote, say, 2BA. It's just, convention that we put the number first and then we do the letters in alphabetical order. And lastly, when dividing, any common factor in the numerator and denominator can be cancelled. Okay, so you can see here, the 4/2 becomes 2. And the A doesn't cancel out with anything. And then we've got the B's cancel and the C just stays on its own. Okay, so the 2AB divided by 2BC becomes 2A/C. And I'm just going to close my emails. There's an email just came through. Okay, so let's move on to question 3. So I'm going to do a few questions from 5, what are we in? 5E. And at any stage you can fast forward or you can pause, maybe do those questions, then come back, whatever suits you. Okay, so for question 3, we're just doing multiplication here. So for A, we've got 3A times 12. So we always multiply the numbers. Okay, so this time you can write it as 3 times 12. And then we've got the A, which is effectively times A, but you don't have to write A, you can write just times A, sorry, you can write A. So 3 times 12 is 36, and then we've just got the A, so 36A. Let's move down and do maybe I. So we've got A times 3B times 4C. So I'm going to do my numbers first. So 3 times 4. And then we've got A, B, and C. So I'm just going to write A, B, C. 3 times 4 is 12. And then we've got A, B, C. Let's have a look at M. So we've got W times W. Now, if we've got the same base or the same pronumeral, that just becomes W squared. So when we do, say, S, which is 6x times 2x, we're going to have 6 times 2, and then you can write your x's now as x squared. Now notice how we've got multiply signs and x's. Please make sure you write your x's as cursive. Okay, so if you're writing your x's like that, they just look like multiply signs. So even if you think, oh yeah, that's an x, if anyone else looked at it, they would say that's a multiply sign. So we use that for multiply. And the cursive x, you don't have to be that fancy, as the pronumeral. Okay, so please make sure you differentiate between them. And if I start seeing it in your work, I will tell you. Okay, let's move on to question 4. Now here we're looking at division. So we're just going to have to write them without a division sign. So it's going to become x over 5. Okay, so your first number or letter becomes your numerator and the second one becomes your denominator. So if we've got E, which is 2 divided by x, it's just going to be 2 over x. And I, we've got a bracket there, so everything in that bracket goes on our numerator. And then our denominator is 5. And then looking at K, we've got 2 plus x all over 1 plus y. Okay, so your numerator and your denominator are just separated by that division sign. So I went through that one quickly, sorry. I hope that was okay. Now question 5, it's just, we're looking at the common factors in the numerator and the denominator and seeing what can cancel. So if we've got 2x and 5x, the 2 and the 5, there's no common factor. So that just stays as 2 over 5, and the x's actually cancel each other out, so it just becomes 2 over 5. So I'll just put the x's in. They cancel out. The reason they cancel out is because, and I'll do it over here, x divided by x is equal to 1, just like 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. Because remember, x just represents a number. It can be the number 999 over 999. It's still 1. Oops, equals 1. So when your denominator and your numerator are the same, it's basically saying 999 divided by 999 is equal to 1. So our answer here is just 2 over 5. For B, again, I find it easier if you just draw your line or your vinculum. 5 over 9 can't be simplified, so we leave that as 5 over 9. And then you got A divided by A, so they cancel out. So we're left with 5 over 9. For C, we've got 9AB over 4B. So the 9 over 4 can't be simplified, so we just leave that 9 over 4. The A's, that doesn't cancel out with anything on the denominator, so that'll stay there, but these B's cancel out. So our answer is 9A over 4. And then for this last one, we've got 2AB over 5A. So put your vinculum on. 2 over 5, it doesn't simplify, so we can just leave that as 2 over 5. The A's actually cancel out, so we're left with 2B over 5. Now, none of these fractions, the numerical part didn't simplify, but just keep in mind that they can. And see how we had an improper fraction here, 9 over 4? Just leave it as an improper fraction. You don't need to make it a mixed number. All right, last question we're going to do. It's a bit smaller. Let's see if we can make it bigger. Make it easier to read. So for question 9, we have to replace the question marks with algebraic terms to make these equivalence statements true. Okay, so basically, and the reason I chose this question to do, because I thought, oh, it might be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to just rewrite the question. I'm going to put a question mark there. I'm just going to leave the space. It'll just be easier for me. 12A, B, C. Okay, so I'm going to get a different color pen, because we all know I like color. Come on. Okay, so basically I've got a 4 here, but I've got a 12 here. Okay, so I know I'm going to have to multiply that 4 by something to get to 12. So what's that going to be? It's going to have to be 3. Now this C, there's a C over here, so I don't have to multiply it by another C. There's a B here and a B here, but I've got an A, and this A isn't on the left-hand side, so we're going to have to multiply the terms on the left-hand side by 3A to make it all equal 12A, B, C. So just check your answer. So we've got 4 times 3 times C times A times B. So 4 times 3 is 12, and remember we put our letters in alphabetical order, so it's A, B, C. Okay, let's skip B and we'll do question C. I might go back to green because I like the green. Just automatically, I think, oh no, last time I did this, I used green. That's why I was set on green to begin with. Okay, so C, we've got 14AB over something. So it's going to be look a bit weird, but there's a question mark there. Equals 2A. Okay, let's get my pink pen. Okay, so looking at the number first, okay, or your coefficient, we've got 14 on the left-hand side, but 2 on the right-hand side. So what do we need to divide that 14 by to get to 2? I need to divide that by 7. The A is both on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, so that can, I don't need to divide that by anything, but the B's gone. So I'm going to have to divide by B, so that cancels out to give us our answer. So let's see how we go. We'll just check our answer. So we've got 14AB over 7B. So the B's cancel out. The 14 divided by 7 gives us 2, and then we've got A. Now, if you're wondering why we don't write it as a fraction, that's because this 14 and this 7 cancels out to give you 2, and we don't usually write 2A over 1. We just write 2A. Okay, so it's the same thing, but we don't technically, if something's divided by 1, it's just whatever that numerator is. Maybe we'll do E. Is that 50x? Just gonna move my pen. Uh, 50x over something times y. Equals 5y. Okay. Okay, let's get my pink pen. All right, so let's look at our number first, our coefficient. So we've got 50 on the left-hand side and 5 on the right-hand side. So what do I need to divide that 50 by to get 5? I need to divide that by 10. Then we've got an x here, but no x on the right-hand side. So I'm going to have to put an x on the denominator so that it cancels out. And then we've got a y, and there's a y here. So we're not going to have to add anything or change it for that y. Okay, so just checking our answer. So the 50 divided by 10 gives us 5. Okay, so that simplifies to 5 over 1 if you wanted to write it like that. And the x's cancel out. And then we've got times y. And remember, we don't write algebraic expressions with a multiply sign. We just leave it as 5y. All right, girls, good luck with 5E. If you need help, please make sure you ask during class time. Bye.